A very good morning, everyone. We're going to start with basic grammar. I'm Dr. Roshi Khan, Assistant Professor, Department of Languages in Redhill University, Lucknow. Now, let's start with the concept of basic grammar. As you can see here in the slide, the first thing that we're going to start with today is subject-verb agreement. Now, let me, children, give you a very basic concept of, the foundations of English grammar. Foundation of English grammar refers to, the basic format in which we create a sentence. Now, you know it very well that when we write a sentence, any sentence, for example, he is studying, or the tree is green, the plants are green, or the bird sings. Okay, so any English sentence, when we are framing a sentence, it comprises of three parts. The first is called subject, the second is the verb, and the third is the object. Children, you have to remember that there is no sentence possible without a verb. And there will be a verb. It can be the main verb, for example, eat, sleep, drink, go, run, etc. And there is the other, that is the helping verb. Like the forms of be is, am, are, was, were, etc. So these are the types of verbs. Okay. So in any sentence, there will be a subject and there will be a verb. Who is a subject? What is a subject? A subject is the entity that we are speaking about, that we are talking about in a sentence. So that becomes your subject. Subject is the most essential and the most important part in a sentence. Okay. Now coming to our topic, that is concord. When we are creating a sentence, when we are writing a sentence, a very essential part, a very important part is that the subject and the verb, they must come in agreement. That simply means that if you have a single subject, you will have a single verb. If you have a plural subject, you will have a plural verb. Now, how do you create a single verb? Now, in case of noun, when we study noun, what are nouns? Nouns are like names of animal, place, person, things. Okay, nouns are names. So, a cat, a dog, a table, a man. Okay, all of this is noun. So, when we, multiply noun, when we make noun plural, we add s or es. For example, table becomes tables. Okay, boy becomes boys, girl becomes girls. So that's in case of noun, we add s or es. In case of verb, we reverse the situation. Now, for a verb to be singular, it should be with S or es. So, if I say go, go is a plural form of verb. Whereas, if you add S or es to it, it becomes singular. So, go is plural and goes is singular. As you can see here in this sentence, the dog barks at the strangers. Why? Because barks is singular. And subject verb concord or subject verb agreement says that if the subject is singular, the verb will be singular. So here in the sentence you can see the dog. Dog is singular. So therefore you add barks to it. Okay, and if the subject is plural, just in the second sentence as you see, the dogs bark at strangers. So now the dogs has become plural, therefore we add bark to it. Okay. So that's the basic rule of subject verb agreement. So this is one basic grammar entity that you need. This is one basic grammar rule that one must know, that when you are writing, when you are framing a sentence, please see to it whether your subject and verbs are in agreement or not. If the subject is single, the verb has to be single. If the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. Heading forward. Now see, suppose if you have two subjects, for example, in this case, John and Mary. Okay. So when two subjects are joined by and, the verb that follows will always be plural. So when, as we can see here in these examples, John and Mary. So John and Mary becomes plural. So they will be joined by, they will be followed by are. John and Mary are going to market. The teacher and the principal have agreed on the new schedule. Okay, but again, there will be an exception. If the compound subject refers to a single entity or idea, means for example, bread and butter. Now, bread and butter is referring to a whole single dish. You don't eat bread just like that, or you wouldn't eat butter like just like that. So, bread and butter they combine to make a single unit. So, in that case, this bread and butter thing will be followed by a singular verb. So, the idea is in your head. You have to ensure whether you're taking it in a in a singular way or it is a plural entity. So if it's two separate things, John and Mary, you'll follow R with it, you'll have R with it. But if it's bread and butter or singer and actor is here. Okay, so in that case, you use singular verb with it. Moving ahead. Now, when we talk of basic grammar, children, one very essential part that we've discussed of right now was your subject verb concord. The second very important thing is the parts of speech, and of all these, see, children, grammar is an elaborate concept. Okay, there are innumerable things that we can talk of. But for now, for this lecture, I've selected four most important parts of speech that you must be knowing. So let's move ahead. So, what are these four parts of speech that we are going to discuss? What are adverbs? What are adjectives? What are prepositions? And what are articles? These are four extremely essential elements. So, the first thing that we are going to discuss is the adverbs. What are adverbs? Now, see, you know what is a verb. What is a verb? Verb is an action word. Okay? When we say verb, we relate it to action. We relate it to some kind of performance. We relate it to some kind of a doing word sort of thing. Okay, so that is a verb. You eat, you sleep, you drink, you run, you go, you travel, you jump, you hop, you skip. Everything, every action is a verb. But how are you performing that thing? How that action is performed? You sleep. How do you sleep? You sleep sound. You eat? How do you eat? You eat, very hurriedly, or you eat in a very relaxed way. Okay. You dress? How do you dress? You dress elegantly. You walk? How do you walk? You walk very quick, brisk walk. So, how are you performing an action refers to adverb. So, what is simply adverb? A word or phrase that modifies or qualifies an adjective, verb, or other adverb, or a group of words. Okay, expressing its relation with the place, with the time, with the circumstance, with manner, cause, degree, etc. Okay, so any whereabouts, all the hows and buts related to that verb will be an adverb. Okay, now so these are the way how we, how do we describe it or we classify adverb in these different ways. So an adverb will describe a verb, it will also describe an adjective, and it may also describe another adverb. Okay, in what ways does it describe? Means number one, how a thing is done. Is it done easily? Is it done happily? Is it done loudly or quickly or quietly or sadly or silently or slowly? So it answers the question how. Then how frequently, how often a thing is done. See? For example, if I say the sentence, I walk, I walk. But how often do I walk? I walk always. I walk every day. I frequently go out on walks. I never walk, but I often walk. I walk once in a day. I seldom walk. I barely walk. I walk sometimes. So, how often Are you performing a task? So that also answers the question of a verb. Then when do you do that verb? When do you do that thing? Okay. So after, before, every. So when you are reading these things, you get to know that you're getting additional information related to that verb. Okay. When you are doing it, I walk after my dinner. I always walk after dinner. So that is again adding certain meaning to the set. It is telling you about the situation or circumstances, the time of the day when you're doing it. So basically, what is adverb doing? Adverb is qualifying the additional information. It is giving out additional information regarding that verb. Okay. Also answering the questions to where, as it is there in this you know, in the slide. Okay. So where do you walk? I walk here, I walk at my home, I walk inside the house, I walk, near the roadside bridge. Okay, I walk outside in the garden, I walk there. Okay. So we are answering to questions like how frequent, how often, when and where you are adding extra information to the verb that is performed, and that's what we call an adverb. Okay. Moving ahead. Now see what are the different types of adverbs that we have. Again, this is a further more classification of adverb. So what are the different types of adverb? There is adverb of place. When you're doing, when you're specifying the place where that action is done. So the action is done here, there, where, away, near, far. So that's adverb of place. Time, sooner I'll do it, later I'll do it, yet, then, now. Again, degree. I walk a little daily. I really walk daily. Okay, I totally completed this chapter, learning of this chapter, all of that. Okay, manner, how, in what manner the action was performed. So the chapter was well read by me, was badly read by me, was quietly read by me, was carefully read by me, it was sloppily read by. So, the manner in which you perform. Again, frequency. I read daily. I never read. I've already read. I often read, I usually read, I sometimes read. Okay, so you're telling the frequency of certain action that is performed. Again, evaluation ho gaya. There is irregular adverb. Irregular is a kind of negative adverb. Okay, it's hard to do. It's early, it's late, it's past. Again, sentence, actually, clearly. So all of these form parts of adverbs. Now, the next topic that we have for today is adjective. So, what is an adjective? Again, what is an adjective? Now, the way children adverb was adding meaning to a verb or adjective or another adverb, what adjective does it? It modifies the noun or a pronoun. Adjective will add quality, add further information, add more information to nouns and pronouns. So what are nouns? Nouns are simply, naming words. Okay. Rama, Anu, Sudhir, Jack, Thomas, Thompson, or whatever. Okay. The names of objects can be noun. For example, table, chair, the computer, laptop, gadgets, phone, mobile, everything. All of these are noun. So adjective, then again pronoun. Pronouns are words that are used instead of noun. So this, that, here, there, he, she. Okay, all of this is pronoun. Okay. Now what is pronoun? What is adjective doing? It is adding further knowledge. It is furthering the information about a noun or pronoun. Okay, so as it's written here, an adjective is a word that modifies a noun or a pronoun. It is going to modify noun and pronoun. In general, the purpose of an adjective is to describe a noun or pronoun and provide more information about. So, what is it doing? It's adding information to that noun or pronoun that you have been talking about. Okay, it answers questions such as what kind. So Sunita, for example, Sunita is a girl. What kind of girl? She's a good girl. She's a tall girl. She's a intelligent girl. So what kind of girl? She's an intelligent girl. So this intelligent becomes an adjective to the noun Sunita. Okay, moving on. What are the different types of adjective again? What are the different types of adjective? Now you know that just like adverbs, adjective is also going to add information to certain things, to nouns and pronouns. Mhm. To nouns and pronoun. But how? How does it add information to noun and pronoun? In what capacity? So the first thing is it tells about the quality of certain things. So adjective, what is adjective doing? Adjective of quality is telling about the quality of certain person or place. Okay. For example, now if when we talk about Delhi is a big city. Delhi is the capital of India. What kind of city is it? Delhi is a beautiful city. It's a cultured city. Delhi is a hub of culture. Okay, Delhi is a large city. It's culturally or multicultural city. Okay, so what have we talked about? We've talked about the quality of this place, Delhi. It's large, it's huge, it's big, it's multicultural. Okay, it's vast. Okay, we talk about Rajasthan. It's called Pink City. Rajasthan is Pink City. It's telling about Rajasthan's quality. Okay, then if I talk about a person, say for example, Emma. Emma is a beautiful girl. What kind of girl is Emma? What is Emma's quality? She's beautiful. What can be other qualities of Emma? Emma is hardworking. Emma is extremely hardworking. So that extremely becomes an adverb and hardworking becomes adjective of Emma. Okay. It's that hardworking is also an adjective, and because adverb is going to qualify an adjective also to this word extremely that I said right now, this becomes an adverb to the adjective hardworking. Okay, my uncle is a strict man. My uncle is a strict man. What kind of man? What is uncle's quality? That is extremely strict. So that is again adjective of qualities. So, quality can be anything, any quality of a person. The person can be tall, the person can be white, the person can be black, the person can be, loud, the person can be intelligent, the person can be intellectual, the person can be strict, the person can be happy. So all of these are the traits, the quality of any person. And again, for that matter, we can also talk about places or things. For example, mobile phones are useful gadgets, tablets are useful gadgets. So useful is what? Useful is the adjective of quality used for that mobile phone. Okay. You can also say that mobile phones are lousy devices. Lousy. Why lousy? Because it makes you lousy. You sit with the phone in hand and you keep scrolling the reels and the other content. Okay, it kills your time. It corrodes your brain. You are just glued to that screen. You're not able to think. There's no active thinking. There's no, actual pleasure receiving or knowledge receiving. Okay, you are like a dead head. You are just your eyes glued to that screen and you're just continuously scrolling without any thought. So it's a lousy device. It makes you lousy, lousy. It doesn't let you get up on your feet and just get going for the actual purposes of your life. So that lousy again, it's a quality, though a bad one, but it is again adjective of quality. Now, I hope this much is understood to you all. Now let's move ahead to the next kind of adjective, that is that of quantity. Quantity again, an estimate of something when you can measure something. All, half, many, few, little, enough. This is all adjective of quantity. How much I need some money. When you cannot exactly count how much, when you cannot when you cannot specify the amount, so that is adjective of quantity. See, there will be two things. There will be an adjective of quantity, and then there will be adjective of number. The number will be definite. Okay, the numbers are going to be definite. Okay, for example, I want uh, 10. I want 10, or I want a dozen of bananas. Okay, a dozen bananas. So a dozen becomes adjective of number. But when I say I want some banana, so that some banana does not, that some word doesn't go with banana. Why? Because you cannot, you buy bananas by dozen. Okay, you don't buy bananas by quantity. So there will be objects, there will be articles for which you use number, and there will be articles for which you use quantity. For example, if you need sugar, or if you need say rice. So for rice, you wouldn't say give me 10 rice. You can say 10 kg rice, but again that becomes number. Okay, so for kg. But if you just don't want to put it under the number bracket, you just want to have some amount of it, you can simply say that I need some rice. How much? So when you're asking about how much, further questioning, there you can use adjective of number. Okay, so these are adjective of quantity and adjective of number. Then comes the next kind of adjective. Hmm. Okay. So then comes the next kind of adjective, that is interrogative adjectives. Now, what are interrogative adjectives to you? Interrogation is when you question. Okay. So the WH words, when, what, where, who, which. Okay. So there are basically five. Okay. What, when, where, which, who. So when is not mentioned here, but you have to remember that when is also a part of interrogative adjective. Okay. So interrogative adjective is basically when you are questioning. Okay, questioning on that particular noun or that particular pronoun. For example, if I say Ria, I met Ria came today. Okay, so you can simply say who is Ria? So that answering of the question who, Ria is my friend. So that information that Ria is your friend, it's an additional information to the noun Ria. Okay. So again, what you have done here is you have answered a question regarding the noun. You've modified the noun. So who becomes an interrogative adjective. Okay. Uh, for example, I have many favorite authors for this particular example that's given here in the slide. If I say there's a sentence that I read a lot of authors, I read lots of books. So if somebody asks you, who is your favorite author or which is your favorite author? So you are, by answering that question, which, you are furthering your information on the word on author. Now, author is what? Author is a noun. So by answering the question, which is your favorite author, and when you say that my favorite author is J.K. Rowling, or maybe say Shakespeare, or G.B. Shaw, or William Golding, or Amrita Pritam, or anyone XYZ, you are furthering the information regarding the word author, which is a noun. You are adding more information, you are modifying the noun. So that's what adjective does. It modifies the nouns. Okay, I hope this much is understood. Then comes the last kind of adjective, that is demonstrative adjective. Demonstrative. Demonstrate. Demonstrate simply means when you show. Demonstrate is to show something. So when you're, when you are pointing out, when you are, pointing out people, when you are showing up to people, when you are specifying the persons. That is demonstrative articles. Okay. For example, like it's written here, it is used to refer to individual nouns within the whole amount. So demonstration talks about individuality. You have to point out that specific person. You have to specify. Okay. So either give me this, uh, either give me this book or that. So, book is a noun, but by saying this book or that book, you're specifying the noun. Okay, you've got two books before you, and you have to select any one. So, say I'll take this book. Okay, I'll take this book. So, when you say I'll take this book, you're specifying the noun. Okay, you're specifying the noun. You're pointing out the noun, which is adding more knowledge about that noun. Okay, so that is demonstrative adjective. For example, taxes, like the example that's written here, taxes have to be paid by every employed citizen. So which people, who are these people who are supposed to pay the taxes? Every employed citizen. So when we say every employed citizen, that means we are pointing out every citizen that is employed. That becomes demonstrative adjective. I hope this much is clear. So before we turn towards preposition, let's take a short break and then we begin with prepositions.